The first 100 days. A checkpoint for every administration. But at a time when it feels like the opinions of many on both sides of the aisle have already been made up, how do we truly know the impact of the job being done? This week, we look at President Biden's first 100 days in office, from education to immigration to handling crises and COVID-19.
At this point in time, community is still expecting more. What
campaign promises still need to be addressed, and which ones have already turned into action?
President Biden, we are holding you accountable.
This is The Race. Welcome to The Race. I'm Chris Stewart. Getting students back into the classroom is one of the top priorities of President Biden since taking office. Billions of the $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill will go to struggling school districts across the country. And here in Hamtramck, Michigan, just outside Detroit, while they say in-person learning is important, when it comes to the challenges they face, it's just the start. You won't find many places like Hamtramck, Michigan.
As the saying goes, in Hamtramck City, it is the world in 2.2 square miles.
In recent decades, thousands of immigrants have moved here from places such as Yemen and Bangladesh. There are more people who are Muslim here than any other religion.
In our school system, we have 19 languages overall.
Superintendent Jalila Hassan Ahmed says while her students are a beautiful example of diversity, her district faces challenges that shouldn't be found in the United States.
Having a school district that's high poverty, a community that's high poverty, comes with a lot of challenges.
The average American school is about 44 years old. The building Superintendent Ahmed brought us to is more than twice as old. She says for the last 30 years, this school has used portable trailers as classrooms to ease overcrowding. The trailers started out as temporary, but they've never left because the building, which houses an elementary and middle school, isn't big enough.
This is not the perfect environment that anyone would want their children to be in. You know, in a gated one-room classroom, this is not America. This is not education in America.
But her district is expecting a more than $35 million boost through President Biden's COVID relief plan, which breaks down to about $15,000 per student. What does that mean when you hear $15,000 per student here?
Well, as I shared, I wanted to cry. You know, just looking at $35 million, I had a mix of emotions, you know, from crying to excitement. And then it was just like, wait, is this real? Come on, tell me, is this real?
On average, school districts are expecting to see less than $4,000 per student. But the amounts are larger in many school districts with higher rates of students who live in poverty, according to nonprofit education group Chalkbeat. In neighboring Detroit, they're expecting about $23,000 per student.
You can't say to school districts to go back to in-person when you know that you failed them, basically. You failed them for all these years by not updating the deplorable facilities.
Superintendent Ahmed says she can't use the money to buy a new building, but she can use it to update her district's schools. Some are so old, they're designated historical landmarks.
You note that this window is our rescue window, and pull this up.
Like the windows in middle school teacher Patty Irwin's room.
This is the extent of being able to open the window.
She's taught in Hamtramck for the past 4 years.
This building is 100 years old, 100 years old, and it needs massive investment that our community can't support. And it's not that they don't care about education, and it's not that they don't want the best. They don't have the money.
It's hard to see that it took this crisis, this pandemic, to help them realize, you know, the deficit that we were in when it came to providing the infrastructure that our students are owed.
As we measure the first 100 days of a new administration, Superintendent Ahmed says we need to look to the next 100 and past this pandemic, because when it comes to education, there is so much work to be done.
I'm strong about the pronoun use of we. Educators, politicians, parents, students, everyone needs to be at the table to discuss, reflect on what has occurred practices, things that maybe we could have done better, and then looking to see how can we better improve the field of education altogether.
Immigration became one of our country's top priorities early on in President Biden's first 100 days in office. His hopes of enacting quick systemic change met with the reality of a surge of migrants along the southern border. Alexa Liacko takes a look at what immigration policy means for families hoping to become U.S. citizens.
Thank you. It's these moments, a tradition of togetherness, that's built a sense of belonging for Jo Phan and her family.
This is a snowstorm.
She and her family arrived from Vietnam 24 years ago.
So we came over after the Vietnam War, where my father was in the re-education camp.
They imagined America.
It's a land of opportunity.
But creating that opportunity wasn't so simple.
When my father applied for citizenship, a lot of my sisters got it through him because we were under 18.
Her mom, Bi Jung, was left out. They couldn't afford her application right away.
Her entire focus was on being financially stable, taking care of her family. You know, that's obviously going to be the priority. So citizenship wasn't even in her mind during that time. You know, when you come over from kind of like the casualty and effects of war, like that's going to be your first priority.
Years later, the family saved up and helped her apply.
I think that's kind of part of the immigrant story, especially for a large family like ours. I have 5 other sisters, and we all had some kind of like part in her application, you know, having to translate, having to help fill out the paper.
And now they wait.
Recently, like 33 Vietnamese refugees were deported. My first reaction went to like, oh no, my mom.
That's why her family is hopeful for President Biden's new citizenship plan.
She's ready to kind of have like that title and the privilege of what it means to be an American.
The new plan would offer an 8-year path to citizenship for immigrants who passed a background check and paid taxes. It would expand worker visas so more people could come to America to work, and it would make it easier for spouses and children to join their families already in the U.S.
Even with this bill, it's not the be-all, end-all of everything. Yes, let's push for 11 million people in the U.S. to become citizens, but let's also stop deportation. Let's stop, putting money into the detention camps.
And Jo isn't waiting for this bill to pass to help the immigrant community.
Most folks don't know about the fee waivers.
She now works for the Colorado Immigrant Rights Coalition, helping people like her mom understand the process.
It's literally my duty and my right as a citizen to give them the same opportunity that I've had.
And I think it's finally time that this immigration bill streamlines the process for these 11 million people who need citizenship, who deserve to stay with their families, just like everyone else that came here before them.
Jo is waiting and working for the day her mom has the security of citizenship.
This is why I'm here, and I'm not going to stop. President Biden, we are holding you accountable. You have a long way ahead of you, and community is watching.
For The Race, I'm Alexa Liacko.
When you think infrastructure, what comes to mind? Bridges, maybe roads. What about caregivers? The president's new infrastructure plan is investing heavily in the caretaking economy. We're connecting the dots and looking at who stands to benefit when the race continues.